Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to another podcast. If you're watching, you will see that there is a different face on the podcast today. And if you're listening, my husband Sam is here.
Hello.
He's taking over for Hayley today. As I'm sure you can imagine, planning a wedding and having a baby takes up a lot of your time and energy, and Hayley needed a week off. She might have a couple of weeks off. We haven't decided yet. She's still here. She's not leaving me. She wants to continue to do the podcast, but it's just too much right now. So we're giving her a break, a very, very well-deserved break. So Sam is stepping in for this week. I might bring Ellis on one week, and I might even do one on my own, but we'll see. But yeah, this might be how it looks occasionally from now on. Obviously, you know, Hayley's got a lot on her plate. Oh, I've just let my hair down. There we go. Hayley's got a lot on her plate, and we don't need to add any more. But she loves the podcast. She wants to do it. She wants to be involved. But yeah, this week she just needs a little break. So you have Sam here. I don't know what he's going to talk about. I don't know how he's going to talk to you, because he's not really that chatty. But he's here. He's trying.
Yes.
So, roll the intro.
Hello and welcome to Confetti Conversations,
the podcast where me and my sister talk all things weddings, wedding planning and married life. Right, so yeah, as I've said, Sam is here. Sam is taking over the reins. We've also got Cooper in between us, but I don't think you can see that on the camera. But let's get into it. So I thought what we talk about really, Sam, is your contribution to the wedding.
Yeah, so no, it wasn't too much, to be honest. I was working away at the holiday parks when we were planning the wedding.
For the first half of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, I wasn't really that involved in the nitty-gritty of the organisation.
We went and viewed all the venues together, though.
Yeah, I took time to...
Well, you were on your off...
On the off days?
No, off season, because it was January
it?
when we went. February when we went to look at all the venues.
Oh, yes, I hadn't started the season yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you came and looked at all the venues.
Yeah, we looked at all the venues, and we did pick which one we liked before I went, didn't we?
Yeah, we picked the venue before you went back to work, but you were quite adamant on the venue, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was what the first one we saw, wasn't it?
It was the first one we saw, yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of comparing everything to that one.
And
nothing kind of gave me the same feel.
No.
As the one we did.
It also had a trampoline.
It did. That was a good selling point.
That was a good selling point. But I think for you, like, as a girl, I don't, like, obviously not everybody feels the same way that I do, but I felt that I dreamt about my wedding day since I was a child, and I'd always thought about the colour scheme I wanted and the dress I wanted and, the type of vibe I wanted. I knew I'd always wanted like a country sort of cottage feel. Whereas obviously like for you...
Yeah, I didn't have the same.
No. Did you always know you wanted to get married though?
Yeah. It was on my to-do list. I wanted, yeah. But it's just not been something I've thought about, extensively.
No, of course not. I can imagine it wasn't really on your wasn't on your radar to think about what colour scheme you wanted or what suit you wanted to wear.
No, not until I needed to think about it, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is all new.
You know when you proposed?
Yes.
Did you think? Yes, I remember that day. Did you think about the wedding at that point? Did you have any sort of?
No.
No, you just proposed because you knew you wanted to get married, but you didn't think about the wedding.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about. Very much in the moment. Didn't want to think about, and didn't think about anything else. That's
your life, though. Sam is always just lives in the moment, lives in the now. Whereas, like, I'm much more of a forward planner, and I think for me, obviously, since I was a child, I've wanted to get married, and I've always thought about it. And so the second we got engaged, I was like, right, we're going to have these flowers, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other. He was like, okay.
Yep. It's like, cool.
Which, for me and my personality type, I think that's why we work so well, is that a lot of the time you go, yeah, okay. And because I'm quite headstrong and, like, driven and I like things done a certain way, I think I was like, you know, this is how it's got to be. And you were like, okay. If you disagreed, you'd let me know.
If I really didn't like anything, I'll be like,
yeah,
maybe not.
yeah. But with the venue, you quite strongly led which venue we chose, because I could have done one of two, and you were. I mean, I could have. If we weren't doing like, if logistically we weren't getting married in the church we got married in, I probably would have picked another venue, one a bit further away.
Yeah, fair.
But it was really important to me that we had accommodation.
Yeah.
Because obviously, well, not obviously, but Sam is from near Manchester. So a lot of his friends and family are from there. Yeah, Stockport. So that's a consideration for you, isn't it?
Yeah, because we had, you know, people travelling from around there. So it's a bit of a pain if they had to travel back immediately.
Or like if they had, you know, too far of a distance from the wedding, you'd find that people go home early because they'd be like, oh, we've got to get a taxi back to the hotel. It's a 30-minute drive and, you know, it's 11 o'clock, we're tired. Whereas like those people would have stayed till 11:30 if, like we did have, all of our hotels were within a 5-minute drive from the venue. And that was part of the reason why we loved it, wasn't it?
Yeah, very easily accessible by guests.
Yeah. And there was nice places to stay. Like we had a lovely hotel which was opposite the venue, and it was perfect. Like a lot of it was perfect in that respect, and it ticked so many boxes. But like for you really did strongly lead the choosing of the venue. Yeah,
I think so. I think, well, you'd find them.
Yeah.
We'd go look at them.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it's not as good as the first one.
Yeah, you always brought it back to the first one, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think that's why we went for it, just because, you know, it was the one we were comparing things to.
Yeah.
If it was better or worse.
Yeah. I think it was a strong first contender.
It was.
I mean, we loved it. We had our wedding there. Of course we loved it. But I think had it not have been the first one, I think we probably still would have gone for it in the bunch that we had.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And like now that we're married, I've found loads of other venues that we never looked at. But I'm not upset about it, because at the time that was the right option for us, and it still is. I think if we were to get married tomorrow, I probably would get married in the same place.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
So yeah, you had quite a lot of input on the venue.
Yes.
And then you went back to work after that, didn't you?
I did.
So you were away then for, well, that would have been March
until November.
Yeah, March until November, Sam was away. So I was then basically you'd be home
like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, because you were in Wales though at the time, so you were closer. It was only like 2.5 hours, whereas before he was in Scotland, which was 7 hours home. So that one was quite intense. But yeah, you came home a lot more for that. And we, you know, if we had meetings or, you know, there's things I needed Sam to help with, then he would come back. But a lot of it I was just quite happy to get on with by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd always get phone calls.
I'd always ask you.
Yeah.
I'd never just do things off my own back. Like if I made something or did something, I'd always say, do you like this? Like I made all of our save the dates, for example. And they had little pencils on them that said, pencil us in. And then it had our date.
Yeah.
And obviously I decided I wanted to do that, but obviously I ran it by you and you were like, yeah, whatever you want to do. I think if I'd have asked you save the dates, invite, stuff like that, you're not really bothered about.
Yeah, I just don't have the same, that kind of creativity.
No, you're not. I mean, you can be quite creative, but I don't think you're not bothered about stuff like that.
No.
And like you're bothered about the sentimental things.
Yeah.
And you're wanting for you, it's about getting married. Like none of the stuff mattered.
No.
If we had nothing in there, I don't think you'd care. No. Whereas for me, I was like, we're going to have this display here and that display there. And Sam was like, what? Like, why? And like, I'd ask you to send me things like your baby pictures. And you were like, why? And I was like, and I'd have to send him like a TikTok or a picture or something that was like describing what we were doing. And he was like, oh, right, okay. Cool. So, yeah, cool. You do that then. But yeah, it was quite you were quite easygoing really throughout the whole.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly stressful on my end, but
I didn't find it stressful at all.
no.
I genuinely, I did not find wedding planning remotely stressful. And I don't know whether that's because you didn't stress me out, because you didn't, like, not that you didn't contribute anything, because if I needed you to do something, you'd do it.
Yeah.
Like, you did a whole page of confetti.
That was tough.
Out of the hundreds of pages that I did, and he hole punched one page because I needed help with it. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather hurt my hands than watch you painfully do it.
I wasn't a professional at confetti making.
I actually don't know what else. I don't think you made anything else, because Mom came and helped me make loads of stuff.
Most of the stuff you'd made whilst I was away.
No, I did most of it at the flat.
Oh.
It was only the flowers really that I did at Hayley's.
Yeah.
And then everything else I did really at the flat.
Oh. What was I doing? Working.
Playing on your Xbox?
Maybe.
No, you were. You would be playing on your Xbox whilst I was doing things, or you were at work, and Mom would come over and do it with me.
Yeah. I just didn't want to do it wrong.
I mean, there was all sorts I did, like spray painting.
With the neon sign, didn't I?
No.
Shit.
Don't swear.
Sorry.
No, you didn't help with the neon sign. I did the writing underneath. No, I painted the wood.
Yeah.
I did the writing. Dad drilled the holes.
Yeah.
I threaded it through and glued it down.
Yeah.
So no. You didn't source anything.
Source anything?
Like you didn't go charity shopping. Oh no,
I
you
went
did.
Charity. I
No,
went charity
you
shopping
did
all the time. Actually,
You did actually. You did. You went on your own because you'd send me things like, "What
I'd
about
always
this?
go charity shopping.
What about that?"
Looking for candlesticks.
Yeah, you did. And you came with me to pick up some Facebook Marketplace finds. Okay, fair. Yeah, you did do bits.
Anytime I was outside, anywhere, I was looking at charity shops.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, you did do some bits, but you weren't like...
No.
You weren't like me.
No.
Scavenging through... Every lunchtime I'd go for a walk because we lived basically in the town centre. Well, I mean, we still do. We live basically opposite where we used to live.
Yeah.
But we were very much in the town. Now it feels a little bit further, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's a longer walk.
Yeah, it's just have to cross a road. But I would go every day on my lunch break and go around the charity shops and look at all the different, like if they'd got any candlesticks in or any mirrors or anything that I could get my hands on to make like signs and stuff like that. And I loved it, to be fair. Like I loved the thrifting side of it. Like it was really fun. And like making everything and a lot of stuff I'd be like, oh, it's fine. If it's close enough, it'll do. And our little flat was just full to the brim, wasn't it? It was crazy.
Not much manoeuvrability in the flat.
No, but to be perfectly honest with you, we rented that flat out for the wedding stuff. Yeah. Like we would have, if we didn't have all the wedding stuff, we probably would have stayed with Hayley for longer if she would have tolerated us for longer. Yeah, true. Basically this is our house. It's a new build. We were supposed to move into it in the November before our wedding, and we ended up moving in the June after our wedding. So it was like supposed to be the November, then it was supposed to be the April, then it was supposed to be then it ended up being the June. But my mum and dad sold our family home in the June before our wedding, so the year before we got married. So I moved in with my sister in that time because she had her own house, and she still does have her own house. And I lived there for 6 months, and then Sam came home from work, and it was me and you, Hayley, and then Ellis started staying quite a lot at that point. And he was basically moved in at that point, and Hayley was just like, this is just too much. It's like 4 adults in one house. It's just not okay. And I was like, okay, then it's time for us to find a flat. So we found a little flat, didn't we, to live in the meantime, whilst we we're waiting for this to be done. And to be fair, I loved it. Like, it was gross, and it wasn't the nicest place to live, but
it was the first place we lived together.
Just us two, yeah, because we'd lived together before, because we lived together at uni, and then I'd moved in with your parents, you'd moved in with my parents. Like, we'd lived together a lot, but never just the two of us. Yeah. So it was quite special, really.
It was.
It was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of wedding planning, you did do a bit of thrifting. And you sorted your own suit out. I mean, obviously with heavy help from me.
Just, notes. I'd show you things and be like, yeah.
Yeah, well, you were
You show me
looking, weren't
things.
you?
Yeah.
You were looking for what you wanted and you
Yeah.
didn't find it. And I found your suit at a wedding fair.
Yeah.
And then you went off and did it.
Did all the rest of it.
And then we went together, didn't we, to look at the hired suit. So Sam tried on the suit that we were going to have for the groomsmen and fathers. And then we bought them a waistcoat to match you, didn't we?
Yeah, so it was a waistcoat from my suit. And then the rest of theirs was just kind of plain navy.
Yeah.
Whereas mine was the whole thing.
Yeah. We wanted you to stand out a bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you wanted to sort of have a bit of a nod to orange.
Of course.
Because orange is Sam's favourite colour. If you couldn't tell, he loves a bright colour. He's in a bright pink t-shirt for those listening. But yeah, it was... I found the suit, but you did all of that by yourself, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of stuff that you did. But I mean, there wasn't a massive amount, because I think I'm a bit of a control freak. There wasn't like a massive amount that you could have done.
Yeah.
Because...
Not without supervision.
Yeah. And also, there's things I don't think you'd have wanted to do on your own.
Yeah, I just didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want to...
Just didn't want to get involved.
I wanted, I'd get involved, but I didn't want to ruin anything.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I appreciate that. It's a lot, isn't it? Like, because it's your wedding, and you know that it's going to be in photos forever.
Yeah.
All these things, you want them to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So you did your fair share. You did the heavy lifting on the day before we got married, doing all the... like packing the van and getting all the stuff out, setting up the venue. You were there and did all that kind of stuff. Like you did a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely the moving all the stuff from flat to venue was
with a broken
tough.
lift.
Yeah.
So glad that your groomsmen, Perry and George, were there.
Definitely, yeah, it made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But
it would have been hard.
It was still a bit crazy.
Yeah, it was.
All the boxes and all the pallets and everything down.
Crates, not pallets.
Same difference, isn't it?
But I'd packed it all really strategically so that everything was in like, there was a box for Generations of Love display, there was a box for the welcome sign, there was a box for the table plan, there was a box for each table. Like, we'd strategically packed it all so that when we got there, it's like, oh, table 1 that, table 2 that, table 3 that, and then you, like, everybody could just sort of grab a thing and go, and there was like a map of the room, and then Sam was like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, can you set this up, can you set that up? I think you and Perry did the arches. Got the water for the arches, the stands for the arches. Did those, didn't you? Because those are things that you could do, and you'd like seen me do them enough times, because I put them up about 4 times in the lounge.
Yeah, we did have arches in the lounge for a while.
Yeah, Hayley always says this. She said it on the podcast before, that you could see the when you drove past our flat, you could see the arches in the window, couldn't you? Because they were above our telly. So, I mean, we loved it. It was what it was. But yeah, so you did your fair share of the heavy lifting and stuff like that. But in terms of the planning, you kind of just let me do it.
Yeah. Just kind of took a back seat.
Well, not a back seat necessarily. You still had opinions on things.
No, yeah, definitely.
But you were, like, colour scheme and stuff, you were quite... I mean, if you had it your way, it would have been bright orange. But I was like, no, that's not a thing. So we did tone it down.
Yeah.
And had peach.
We did.
So
I still got it in there.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Kind of.
I probably would have had peach regardless of whether you wanted it or not.
Well, that's what you mean. It's, perfect.
Sure. But yeah. But from your... What did you imagine my dress would look like? Did you think it would look the way it did?
I thought it would be white to start with.
God.
No, I don't know.
Like, what did you picture me in?
I pictured you in something that was very similar to what it was. You know, not a crazy tight dress or massive, like,
Yeah.
I thought, you know, quite like it was. It was just nice, form fitting and really nice. I don't know.
That's such a man way of like putting it. Like, you don't want to offend me or you don't want to say anything wrong. Like, I mean, it's a pretty standard wedding dress, really. Like, it's you know, you're not breaking the mold with it.
No, it wasn't like a crazy wedding dress, which is probably good.
Yeah.
Because I think some wedding dresses are mental.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear them.
No, I don't.
So that you can keep that opinion to yourself.
Will do.
But like, from your perspective, how did you find the wedding day? Like, what was it? Oh, actually, hang on. Before we say that, one thing you did have a massive input on was the food.
Oh, yeah. That's just because I'm really picky, though.
Yeah. Because
so we had to have, you know, I didn't want the normal chicken gravy and potatoes.
Well, you wouldn't have eaten it.
No. And it's, you know, it's our day.
Yeah.
So if we choose something we both want to eat, then that was my opinion. Anyway.
But that's what our venue coordinator said to us. He was like, you have to eat the food that you want to eat.
Exactly.
Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And people said to you, and like the coordinators and stuff, they were like, you can have something different. Like, you can have a different meal to everybody else. And you were like, no, I don't want to do that. And even your mom said that to me, because when we told her what food we were having, she was like, oh, you're not having like a traditional wedding breakfast? And I was like, no, it doesn't suit us. Like, that's not what Sam would like. And she said to me, well, Sam can have something different. And I was like, that's actually, he said the exact words, I don't want to do that.
No, because then it's just like, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're just having, it's like almost I've ordered from the kids menu.
Well, you would have had chicken nugget.
That would have been great, to be fair. Chicken nuggets and smiley faces.
Oh, sorry. You're not boring me. I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Chicken nuggets. I mean, that would be what you would have.
You can't go wrong. Turkey dinosaurs, smiley faces. Whoosh, winner.
To be fair, you haven't had that for ages. No. You've been quite good recently.
I have.
You've eaten proper food.
Yes, on the fitness grind.
I mean, barely, but sure.
Definitely.
If you say so. Yeah, so you had a massive input on the food, didn't you? You wanted what you wanted. So we had a summer barbecue, but it was all served on sharing platters to the table. So it was like we had meats and then like salady bits and sides and stuff. And there were some things that you were like, well, you said I want chips, and I was like, I think potatoes would be better than chips, and you were like, okay, fine. You didn't really eat them, but you had like there was so much food. It was
there was enough for everything.
So filling, and then the pudding. I really wanted the lemon posset because it was the best lemon posset I've ever eaten in my life. I don't even know if I've ever eaten another lemon posset, but that was just
it was good,
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I desperately wanted to have that. So I was determined to have the lemon posset. And then you were like, I really like it, but I would love something chocolatey. And they were like, well, what you can do is do half of your guests will have the lemon posset and half will have a chocolate cheesecake. And we were like, sure. Because most of our guests were in couples anyway. So like what most people did is, I think we had individual, like you had the cheesecake and I had a bite of it, and I had the lemon posset, you had a bite of that, like, because we both preferred the other one. But then majority of people, like Hayley said, her and Ellis shared, so they had half the cheesecake and half the lemon posset each, and that worked really well. So it's a bit weird when it comes out because people are like, oh, I get cheesecake but you get lemon posset, but most of the time it's done within couples so they can just sort of figure it out. But yeah, that was your sort of biggest thing.
Yeah, so it was an important thing.
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't do that you would have liked to have done?
I don't think so. I think I think it was great as it was. Maybe like I did think about doing like a karaoke thing. once
Oh
at the
yeah, you
wedding.
did want karaoke, didn't you? It was my dad that stopped that. Dad said no to the karaoke.
I thought it'd be good fun, to be fair.
Yeah. Dad was like, oh God, no. Why would you want karaoke on your wedding day? And I was like, to be fair, you're not wrong. Because there'll be just one drunk person who
Yeah.
spends the whole night singing songs that are awful, which would mean that the whole dance floor would be clear. Nobody would have in a party. Like,
Yeah.
I think it could be really fun, and I think karaoke could be done really well, but you'd have to get a professional in to be a
Yeah.
host of karaoke,
Definitely.
like
Like,
what
on the-
you do.
On the surface, it would have been a fun idea, but
Yeah,
logistically speaking,
yeah.
it
It would
wouldn't
have
have
had to be
worked.
run really well.
Yeah.
And like we don't know anyone who would have done that. You need the equipment.
Mhm.
Like it just never would have worked.
No.
So yeah, I'm glad we didn't do that in the end.
Yeah.
But that is something you did want. But I was like, I wasn't mad keen on it, but Dad was really against it, so we didn't do it. But as I was saying before, from your perspective, like how was the wedding planning process? How was the wedding? Like what would you do differently? What did you really enjoy? What tips would you have for people?
Well, I think the process itself, like we said, wasn't that stressful for us.
Yeah.
It was nice and easy. Well, not easy, but it wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
We had, just over a year?
15 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just over a year.
Just over a year to plan it all, and that was enough time for us
Yeah, it was,
to
yeah.
get everything sorted without rushing things.
Yeah.
And then the wedding day itself, it was the morning was a bit of a stress because once we'd got into our place after everyone got ready, we then got a phone call, be like, you need to go. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, the timings all got missed. We've spoken about this before. The minibus basically that the bridesmaids were going in was rushing me because they had another job to do. I'd booked it for 11 thinking that it'd be fine. We'd just leave at 11:30 and he was like, no, we need to go now. And I was like, great, okay. So we were then early and the boys hadn't even left and it was a half an hour drive. So, I mean, you guys were late to the venue and you
We
were
weren't late to the venue.
Yeah, you were.
No.
Yeah, because you would need to be there like an hour before to get your photos done. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it wasn't ideal. But it was fine. You guys got there in plenty of time.
Yeah.
You met everybody there.
We beat everyone to it. So.
Yeah, because you needed to be there earlier. I think I had you leaving at 11 anyway on the schedule to get there for 11:30 to greet everybody. But for some reason, you all were just taking your damn sweet time, which made my life a bit stressful.
We were getting our photos taken. We were having a wonderful time.
Yeah, but you
enjoying the
knew what the
morning.
schedule said. I told you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it all worked out, didn't
We're not
it?
going to argue about it, but it wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal. Yeah.
And then, I think tips-wise...
No, but how did the rest of the day go?
Oh, the rest
After
of the day
that?
went swimmingly.
Yeah.
I didn't...
Apart from the rain, but it didn't matter.
That didn't bother me.
No.
I think once the ceremony itself was over...
Were you nervous?
Yeah.
You didn't look at me when I walked down the aisle.
No.
You didn't turn around, which in hindsight I'm a bit upset about because I would have loved that moment. Like, I was just looking at the back of your head walking up the aisle thinking, why is he not looking around? Like, why is he not turning around? Why is he not turning around? And then I got to the top of the aisle and he just smiled at me. And I was like...
I didn't want to...
Tears? Or like,
Well, that's
wow, you look amazing? Or none of that. There was literally none of that. And I was like, okay, great.
That's why I didn't want to turn around, though. I
No,
didn't
but-
want to...
Any grooms
'Cause then-
listening, please turn around and look at your bride because it is quite jarring just walking up the aisle, just looking at the back of someone's head.
And I think it was just nerves. I didn't want to...
I get that, but like it would have been a comfort to me to have seen your face.
Yeah.
But instead, you just looked straight ahead the whole time.
Mm.
How was your speech? How did you think your speech went?
I think the speech went well.
Yeah, you started it
You
like
were-
an entertainer.
Of course.
You started it like he was doing
I had a microphone in my hand.
a set at the holiday parks, and I
Mm.
was like, no, thank you.
Well, you didn't have much faith in it. before.
No, I really, and it's sad to say, but I didn't. But the reason why I didn't is because I went to uni with Sam. I know Sam very well. We did an acting degree where he had to learn lines and write things and do essays, and he would always do them the night before, or he wouldn't learn his lines, or he would just throw something together and then get a C and be like, oh, I thought that was really good. And it's like, yeah, but you threw it together, you put no time, thought and consideration into it. And bear in mind, he was still writing his speech as we were trying to leave the door, go out the door to go the night before.
Was that?
Yeah. You were like, I've just got to finish it and print it. And I was like, Sam, we're leaving now. And he was like, yeah, no, I've just got to finish it and print it. And I was like, 20 minutes later, he was still writing. So time management not on your side. No. And I think that's why I was worried. I just thought you were going to wing it. And I thought you were just going to think, it's fine, I'll just make it work. Mm-hmm. And to me, you can't with a speech. We've seen it happen. Your best man did, and it, bless him, was not good. Because he just didn't prepare.
Yeah.
And I think that would be like the biggest tip for speeches is prepare. Even if you don't follow the whole thing, you don't have to read it verbatim.
No.
But you do just have to know where you're going and what you want to say.
Yeah.
Even if it's just bullet points, you have to know what you're going to say and rehearse it.
Yeah.
I don't think you rehearsed it, but it was very good.
No, I didn't rehearse it.
It was very good. You did cry a lot at the most random things. Like he cried. He mentioned one of his groomsmen, and he went, "Perry," and started crying, and it was like, "What are you doing? What are you crying about that
I was
for?"
with you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you did better than I expected.
Yeah.
But I was worried that you were gonna mess it up.
I'd never do such a thing.
I mean, you would. You definitely would. But you just didn't that one time.
And I'll hold on to that time.
Great. Anyway, what are your tips? Go on.
Tips would be to, and as easy as it sounds, just kind of not stress too much about it. The day's going to happen. It's going to go how it goes.
Yeah.
There's no changing it. There's nothing you can do once it's started.
That's your mentality to life, though.
Yeah.
You're very much a go with the flow. It is what it is. When you get stressed, you get really stressed. But 90% of the time, you don't stress about anything.
There's only certain things that I get stressed about.
Like the dog.
Planes.
Oh, the airport. Good Lord. Me and Sam, although we've been together 8 years, have been on holiday very few times because we were students and then it was COVID and we just hadn't been away. I think we've only ever actually been on a plane, just the two of us, twice.
Yeah.
And the first time I didn't really recognise how you were, whereas this last time when we went away in December, oh my goodness. I was just trying to make a TikTok and he was getting upset because we were going to miss the bus. And admittedly, we were second to last on the bus, but we didn't miss it. We got ages. But he was not happy.
No.
So that's that, really. But that's Sam all over for you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't stress would be your biggest tip.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think you could have done more? You could have helped more, or do you think you would have wound me up?
I think I could have helped more, but I feel like if I did help more, it would have stressed you out more.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't do it properly or the way you wanted it to,
I think, I mean, I don't know why I just didn't find wedding planning stressful at all. Like, I found the whole process really easy, and maybe that's because I was really organised, because I was excited. But I just didn't feel like it was a chore.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I'm lucky, and I know I'm lucky. And at the time, I had all the time in the world. I didn't have anything else on my plate, any worries, really. So I just had a lovely time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's our wedding from Sam's perspective, I guess. How it was to be a groom.
Yeah, nice and easy. Lovely time, lovely day.
We did have a lovely day. Yeah, we did. Can't believe it's 2 years ago now.
Yeah, a bit crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like 10 years ago, but also feels like Tuesday.
Was it a chore being married to me?
No, just I've had such a nice time, it's flown by.
But you said it feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah, because it feels like it was ages ago.
It was 2 years ago.
but it feels longer than that, but in a good way.
Okay. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. We still get on. We still like each other. 2 years down the line, we're still married. So
Can't go wrong.
yeah, we're doing all right.
We are.
We're doing all right. We've made it 8 years together. So we've got past the 7-year itch, which is great.
What's the 7-year itch?
Well, apparently when you've been with someone for 7 years, then that's the point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh. Okay.
You just feel like you want to be with someone else.
Oh, right.
So we got past the 7-year itch.
Yes.
On the first year of marriage. I think there's a statistic that says something about like marriages that make it past the first year or something, but I don't know what it is. I'll have to look it up. Maybe I'll tell you next time. Maybe I won't. It's a mystery.
Who knows?
Anyway, Sam's got to go because he's leaving me to go out with his friends and go for dinner. And poor me, I've got to fend for myself.
Okay.
Thanks. Me and Cooper will edit the podcast. Anyway, thank you for listening. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, all of the above.
All the good stuff.
But for now, I'm Phillipa.
And I'm Sam.
And this was Confetti Conversations, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.